Welcome to the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast, where we speak about all things related to spirituality, soul level healing, intuitive guidance, frequencies, and much more. I'm Amy Sikarskie, licensed vocational nurse, past life hypnotherapist, master intuitive energy healer, and a clairvoyant physical channel. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Spirit School Online, where we offer courses in energy therapy, free guided meditations, courses and information around learning to connect in with your spirit guides, and much more. You can find me at amysikarskie.com and offerings at spiritschoolonline.com. Hi everybody, welcome to this special episode of the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast. And a part of our mini-series today, I will be sharing an energetic therapy session with Lauren, and this is an intuitively guided experience. So while we have worked together in the past, we have not been speaking today about much of anything that's going on really in her life, and so all of the information for this moment in time will come through spirit. And I clairvoyantly see the energy, claircognitively get a direct knowing, clairaudiently we'll hear messages, and then also we feel the energy come through. And so for those who are interested in energy work and connecting and tuning in with spirit, one of the aspects of it is sensing with all of your sensories, so physical and your clairsenses, what's going on in that space. The energy will come in the different ways using our clairsenses, but we also feel the energy. And that is one way that helps us to intuitively know that the information is accurate and succinct. And then also through feedback that Lauren will be sharing with us as we move along. So as we begin, for us and our listeners, we can just take a nice breath in, settle the energy around and within our field and within our body by connecting in with this now moment, our body. We feel a heart expansion, so energy flowing in through heart space, sacral chakra, throat, solar plexus, third eye, root chakra, and crown. And so Lauren, let me tune in and I'll let you know, I'll just share who's here for us today. So first off, straight away, Archangel Michael. So if Archangel Michael here, there's a lot of overlapping frequencies. It's very peaceful. There's a strong, steady vibration. And also a soft, feminine, loving, soothing frequency here. So we have Lady Nada and Mother Mary energy, and Archangel Raphael, Zadkiel, Ariel, Sandalphon, and Uriel. So I'm feeling a beautiful spiritual support team for you today. And they're telling me that you've worked with them before in Reiki sessions. So you might recognize, the frequency and be like, oh yes, these are my friends. These are, guides and angels and teams that I work with. And there's a beautiful green frequency coming in that looks like a vibrant, interesting. I want to say a vibrant emerald, and I'm also hearing the word topaz. So there's also topaz frequency here, and a little bit of a deep purple, like a deep, deep amethyst. And they're showing me your energy field. And it looks like some of what we'll be focusing on today are your chakras. And so you've been doing some energy work with your chakras and some clearing and movement of energy. And I see that your heart chakra is coming to this space of feeling comfortable to relax and open up a little bit. And it might be because we have a session and how do I need to hold myself? All the things that we think when we're having a session, let alone when it's, going to be shared with others. So I see your heart space and there's a lot of pink, rose pink around. and it's just relaxing into the experience. You actually have a really strong heart chakra that's super expanded. Like it can go out really far. And it's one of the first things people recognize, sense, or feel from you when they meet you, whether it's somebody new or a friend and they reconnect, you go for lunch or coffee or whatever, and it's like, oh, hi, they can feel your heart long distance out. Um, you're also really intuitive, they're showing me. And they're showing me that your brow chakra and your sacral chakra work together. And so the sacral chakra is our intimate relationships with ourselves and others, like the deep moments when we're speaking with ourselves and when we're connecting in with our inward conversations. It's also creativity, fluidity, sensuality, sexuality, and it's one of the ways that we can start to like feel really grounded in this life because it's around our hips, which connects with our root chakra and being here. And so what I'm seeing is you're really clairvoyantly in tune. And that doesn't always mean see colors or see energies with our eyes open. It can also be, I can read the room. I can see the future. I can see where this decision would take me. And also, like, you can see friendships and how they are playing out or what's going on behind the scenes or if something's wrong, with a friend so you can talk to them. So those in your life that are close to you in your circle are really blessed by your guides are saying your inquisitive nature. So I'm seeing all this intuition, and they're saying, but beyond that, a step deeper is you're really inquisitive. So if you feel that something's, off for a friend or they're sharing an idea and you're like, oh, I have an idea to support you, or something came in, your mind and your connection with spirit is always like, how can I support others? How can I help others? What do they need? And so you're consistently receiving messages with your brow chakra to provide the information and show you like how it can manifest or how these gifts can then play out in the reality. And when we work with the crown and the brow, a lot of that comes through thought that we might think is our own thoughts, and it could be. But sometimes when a thought just pops in and we're like, oh, I never thought of that before, or wow, when we get surprised with the information, it's like, oh, okay. So that's a sign that it can be coming from, I call spirit. So your guides and angels and our higher self, our friends' higher selves, from a spirit. And so they're showing that you have a really strong and robust energy centers or the whole system. So your aura, your field, and your chakras. Really, really strong. I would say that right now, what you're working on, because I've seen it enhance and then I've seen it retract, is your root chakra grounding. And recently they've been talking and sharing, through a lot of different ways for me. And one was directly through my healer talking about grounding with the new earth energy. And so that might be something you want to work with if you haven't already. I noticed in my life, I was like, oh, I haven't like intentionally done that, where I sat down, did a guided meditation to do that. But when she assisted me to connect with the new earth energy, I was like, oh, yes, I've been here before. It's come through in sessions. So I feel as if you have had that connection and they're just sharing with you that you're in a transition or there's more of an enhancement with the new earth energy. And so you're going to feel your system supported in a deeper, more grounded way, which feels, well, to me, it always feels warm, solid, and peaceful. Like really supported when you can feel the energy come in through your root chakra, your legs, and your feet. And they're showing, I don't know all the names in yoga, but they're saying the warrior pose, and they're showing ones where you would definitely be connected in and stabilizing at your legs, your root chakra lined up, your spine lined up to ground. So that would be a great way. And when you're doing these movements, to just have the awareness. They're saying you don't even have to try. Just have the awareness that I'm going to connect in with the new earth energy, which is just a higher vibrational dimension, I would call it, a different frequency. And what's interesting is one of the things that I noticed when I connected in with it was the green that came in. It was very similar to the green I saw when we first started your session. So today, they were going to help adjust a few things by unwinding some cords and connections at your solar plexus. And it's like they've braided, or if they're flowing and then they collapse on each other and now they're kind of like knotted, but we will comb it out. And so that will help
Okay.
you to feel stronger within yourself and with relationships. So I just want to hear how everything's sounding to you. Do you have questions? Is it resonating? How are you feeling?
It's definitely resonating, everything that you're saying. I feel like it's always been challenging for me to stay grounded. I try really hard. I do a lot of yoga, but I find, especially throughout my work day, that my head starts, I feel like I start to float
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, and it's hard for me to kind of pull back into my body at times. I could be kind of forgetful at times or come across like spacey or I'm daydreaming. And I guess I've always struggled with that throughout my whole life. But it's funny because I'm a teacher, and when I'm in the classroom with my kids, I'm so grounded, like it's just very smooth. But outside of that, I have a little bit of trouble staying grounded. So I try to ground in with the yoga and getting outside in nature. When I initially started feeling like I needed to ground, I saw lots of like reds and deep brown and deep colors that kind of resonated with the ground. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just was always thinking of the ground. And now when I try to ground in, I'm seeing more of like blues and purples and pinks and almost like iridescent colors. So I'm wondering if I'm shifting from old old earth to new earth energy, and that's why I've seen that shift kind of. Um, I don't know. So the solar plexus, in regards to the knots that you see, like, do you think that's from relationships?
Well, I'm just hearing just like a little bit of confusion and collapsing.
Yeah.
So they're saying, like, let's say that you had a really strong relationship with a friend and then you
Yeah.
hadn't seen each other for a while or something happened and it kind of like tripped your mind up, like had you questioning your relationship or, yourself or them, mostly the relationship. So then this strong connection would loosen a bit and you retract a little bit. And then the cord between you kind of just falls towards you without
Yeah.
you reeling it in. It's like, oh, and it's sitting there. It's waiting to see if it's going to be reestablished. And so what they're saying is we'll comb it out. And then that way it will be. So we have the vortices of the chakras that point outward. We also have the cords that extend from us. This way it will be extending out and fluidly moving, and you'll be able to reel it in, or it can go ahead and like reconnect. But for some reason, what's happening is because there's a accumulation of multiple connections that have done this, it's just sitting on your solar plexus, which can hinder your flow of information. So it makes it a little bit harder for you to read and understand what's going on. And also, I'm seeing like 3 to 5, yeah, 3, and then they show me 4 and 5. So there's a 5 total, potentially 6, 3 strong relationships. And the fourth stands out to me as like all of its own. So I don't know what that means, but maybe it's a specific relationship that has very different dynamics than the rest. Those are the ones that you would be working with. And so they're saying just let it naturally flow and play out. You don't have to do like anything where you say, oh, what's my homework? And I don't know what I need to do, but I think I have to do something. No, no. The information will come through naturally. But what they're saying is because there's so many of them, it kind of created this piling of culmination of different frequencies because it's all the energies and they're laying together. So by combing them out, you'll be able to really discern and say, oh, I'm feeling this, or something like this happened for that relationship, but it's really not related to any of the other ones. It will just help you get clear. we do a lot of thinking with our solar plexus. So it's really going to help you get clear. It's also your power center for your self-worth and self-confidence. And when we have inspiration and we actually feel inspired to do something, we are using a lot of our solar plexus. Sometimes our sacral, our heart, it can come from a variety of places, but we use a lot of the energy at our solar plexus to push it through, to like manifest it. It's that oomph that we need to get started, that kickstart to really, fulfill that goal or get started on a project. So with that energy just hanging out there, it's also slowing you down. So this way you'll be able to just fine tune your engine, is the way I look at it. Like rev it up and get
Yeah,
it going.
that makes a lot of sense to me because when I do the Reiki, by the way, those Reiki courses, the online courses I took like throughout the whole pandemic, I was like, I'm just going to take everyone. They have been like life changing for me. Right now, I'm just doing it on myself and my two sons and my husband and my dog. I don't really do it for anybody else, but um, it it just opened me up in a way that I didn't even know was possible. And when I do Reiki on myself, like I immediately want to go to my solar plexus,
Mm.
um, and I kind of go back and forth with myself. Like my hands are guided to my solar plexus, but I want to stay at my heart. But like it's kind of a struggle for me because I always feel like I want to be like very heart centered, but it's like my hands go to my solar plexus. So that makes so much sense to me. And, in the past few years, I feel like relationships have been funny, work relationships and family relationships. So that all makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, lovely. I feel that after this slight adjustment, you'll just have more clarity, you know?
Yeah.
And then also energy. So, energy to
Yeah.
hold yourself, carry yourself, and the
Oh, good.
energy to
Because
do
I've been
what you
so
need to
tired.
do.
Yeah.
Aw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the summer started, like the first 2 weeks of the summer, I was like, I'm so tired. I don't know. Like, but that makes a lot of sense. Okay. Because I haven't been sick or anything. I'm perfectly healthy, but just very, very tired, like sleeping, wanting to nap, like just not having a lot of oomph. So hopefully this will help me shift
Yeah,
into a better place.
I really think it will. And also, you're in a
Yeah.
transition. So, if I get any more specific information, I'll let you know. But for the
Okay.
listeners, like when we are going through an energetic transition to like a level up with our frequency, we can get really tired because our physical body is integrating those shifts. And there's a lot happening quantumly and within the memory of the physical body too. So then that's when like, oh, a trauma or a memory or something from the past comes up and it can be processed while we're sleeping. And it can also, the intelligence of our body is doing a lot in those experiences because we're literally shifting into a whole new way of being. It's just a nice way to say it. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's beyond the next chapter. Sometimes it's like a whole new book. So if you
Yeah.
feel that you have a lot of up leveling or a new shift coming through, it can be a part of that. But there is a strong aspect related to just the energy at your solar plexus. And also, when you were speaking about like wanting to work on yourself in both locations, I totally get it. They showed that you could put a crystal in one and it will hold the space for the energy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you lay down and if you're like, okay, my hands feel like they really want to go to my solar plexus, let me get a rose quartz, or I love a green fluorite too. Let me put it on my heart. And they're really soft and loving and it will help continue the flow of the energy. They're saying it will enhance it so that that chakra can stabilize and really charge up. But you process so much at your heart. It's beautiful. Like you process a lot and you come from things from a heart space and also up here in your throat. You really do. So when things happen, it's like you don't have that knee jerk trigger reaction to judge or lash out like offensively or be defensive. it catches your awareness, and then your heart chakra analyzes like, oh, well, what's going on and why and how can I help? Like, that's not typical behavior, or that doesn't make sense to me. That, so when there's these moments that could turn into altercations, you do come at it from a very heart space. So that looks really pretty. And they say that when you put a crystal at the heart chakra, it just gives it a little bit more support to help analyze and hold the frequency, and also the strength, because your heart chakra is on, I don't want to say overdrive, but you're using it a lot. So it
Yeah.
keeps it with strength, so that they're showing me that the main cone, that the main vortice there, that all the little ones sit in, they're saying so it doesn't collapse. Like it looks like it could
Hmm.
collapse in, it could fold in, which is interesting. They're saying when it folds in, it's like it would be a little bit of you being critical of yourself, like, oh, am I doing enough? In that way, rather than they're saying if it folds out, it would be like, oh gosh, I failed, and just giving up. But when it folds in, you're putting pressure on yourself, like, okay, what more can I do? So it's really
Hmm.
interesting. I don't think I've ever had that come through before, this, way of it. So there's a difference how your system responds on the way that you internalize it. Like, am I doing enough? Can I help? And that's a lot of stress and pressure versus, oh, I can't. I've done too much. And then you just give up. But neither
Yeah.
one of those two are healthy. So your heart could use a little bit more energy support when you're processing significant moments. It doesn't happen all the time, but it is coming up. So maybe you've experienced that recently. I'm not quite sure, but you do a lot of navigating the relationships and your
Yeah.
choices. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely have been, and I haven't always been that way. It's pretty much been like the past year or so where I feel just very heart centered, whether it's at work or family. So there's that part of me with work and family and with friends where I feel like I'm not doing enough. I have gone through kind of like a hermit phase recently, like during the pandemic, where I kind of didn't want to do anything but kind of be by myself and just be home with my family and kind of working on my energy and trying my best to heal. And I think that I don't know, there's definitely, I'm definitely overworking my heart center at times, I think. And then in regards to like my spiritual work, I think that because a lot of times I'm focused on work and family and what's happening here, like as a human,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm doing enough to help myself grow spiritually. So it's like, oh gosh, like I should have meditated today, or why didn't I pick up that crystal? Um, and I think sometimes I just need to take that step back and just work on like that self love and that self care a little bit more. Um, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wonderful. They're sharing a little
Yeah.
bit more for me to share with you. There's a difference between they're sharing like, what do I have to do? I'm putting pressure on yourself and making lists, or always thinking of an action item, like moving forward, and then
Yeah.
judging yourself or analyzing it more like, oh, did I do enough? They're saying
Yeah.
if you know the way of it is being present,
Hmm.
letting your aura be strong and full of peace and love, be like just being more of who you are, then spirit will bring to you the moments. You don't have to go look for them. So
Yeah.
you're like holding space for you and others. And that way it's also, they know, like, let's say your children, they know that if I need mom, I can go to her, rather than you having to anticipate things. They're saying kind of let it come to you. So that's one
Yeah.
aspect that they're sharing, that will help your energy settle a little, because so many of us put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I mean, I'm there too,
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what can I do? What should I do? And so they're saying just wait and let the moments present themselves. And then when they do, you'll be ready. And so in the meantime, it is connecting with yourself and your energy and all of the spiritual work, if we call it that, which is being present. But again, in that moment, just flow. they say, okay, well, sometimes you might look at it as if I need to meditate so many times a week. But if you don't get that meditation in, re like just look at it with a new lens. Like, well, what did I do? And did it provide a similar effect? Because sometimes it could be a walk or stretching. There's different ways that we
Yeah.
can connect in with energy and clear and strengthen. And so essentially, they're reminding that there's different forms of meditation and what is the purpose of it. And you might be able to achieve it through different activities. So also give yourself that leeway and, that they're saying the permission to flow, just the
Yeah.
permission to flow and to be, and everything will come to you that you would, they're saying, like need. If you say, oh, I need to do this, I'm supposed to do this, am I doing enough? They're saying, hey, it'll find its way to you and you don't have to worry as far as stressing out if you're doing enough. They're saying you're doing more than enough. So,
Yeah, I really feel everything that you're saying. And I think sometimes maybe that comes from like being so inquisitive about what I'm experiencing. I think that um, the magical experiences that I feel I've had and I'm grateful for, I think that um, they kind of leave me wanting more. Kind of, it's almost like seductive, where I'm like, oh gosh, I need to experience that again, because there's like that feeling that comes over you of like just feeling restored, like along with
mm-hmm.
whatever you're seeing or hearing. And I think that when I have those experiences, it's usually when I'm not expecting them, when I'm not looking for them, when I'm not
Yeah.
waiting for them. That's when things kind of pop in. Um, so I've been trying to remind myself to stay in that space instead of being so like, again, like inquisitive about it, like wanting to know why this happened or what I need to do to make it happen again. Or,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just need to go with the flow. Like you said, I need to flow.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense to me.
Oh,
I don't know
wonderful.
if that's sometimes I think it's because I'm a Virgo. Sometimes when I look up like but what how a Virgo is, I'm like, that's so me. Like I have to analyze everything and wonder why and find out the reason. And sometimes I just need to kind of flow. And I think things come to me more when I do flow. It's just getting me into that headspace sometimes takes a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that makes so much sense.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you'll get it. You'll feel it. And
Yeah.
with some of the work that we do today, you'll start to feel, oh, okay, we can flow this way. And that's a nice way to put it. Because, I think I know I use all of my senses, my mental, my emotional, like all of our beingness, who we are. But sometimes it's like, well, let me just let the energy lead the way and I don't have to plan. That's something in my
Yeah.
life right now. I'm like, I have a general idea, but the details I'm going to kind of let them present themselves or play out. And so I'm letting the energy of the day or the season, lead the way. So there is that aspect. And I wanted to share with you, I got a message earlier and I, kind of forgot for a second. But when you're talking about grounded and being grounded, when you're working, you're focused, you're present, your intention is there and you're there 100%. And that's why you're like, okay, I'm grounded, I'm all the way here. And when you're not working, that is your time. That is your personal time to lift up to the other dimensions and just relax and float and be. And it's okay. But of course, like if you're like, well, I need to be a little bit more grounded, they're saying just write lists out, which you probably do, but that will help you to
Yeah.
visually see it, check it off, not forget, and you'll be able to flow. But there was one thing I saw, and they showed me, I just went to the store the other day, like a home decoration store, and they have these, it's interesting, they had these stumps, like real tree cut logs that you would sit and it could be like a little place to set your coffee or,
Yeah.
just like decor. And that flashed in my head. So if you were to bring, I could say bring wood in, but I'm literally thinking like a tree. Like bring a stump,
Oh my gosh.
anchor your room.
That's so funny. Can I tell you why?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in like our office downstairs, um, I have a lamp that the base of it looks like the trunk of a tree. Um, And I was just looking on the website that I got it from a couple years ago to see like if there were any more like little accent pieces that have that same kind of feel to them. So I was seeing those like tree trunk, like little coffee tables and stuff
Yes.
like that online like 2 days ago. That's funny.
Oh, that
That's
is
funny.
so
Yeah.
funny. Okay, so I was like, well, I'm really seeing that. That's a strong message.
Yeah, that is a very strong message for me. Plus, we have a tree in our backyard, and I don't know. I just feel so. Um, I don't know. I just feel very drawn to this tree, and I find myself like sitting on the deck, like in my head, I'm just like, "You're so pretty." But just like over the weekend, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm talking to the tree."
Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah.
That's funny, Amy.
Well, I love that.
Yeah, that
So
makes so much sense.
there you go. That will help you. And it just entrains the body to be like, oh, this is what it feels like to be grounded. So if you walk over to the tree, you're in its energy field. And then the closer you get, sometimes we like to hug the tree or sit at the base of the tree and
Yeah,
meditate or just, read or have a picnic, whatever it might be. But that
yeah,
helps to ground your energy. So it's really supportive and it's natural. And there's just this aspect of us kind of stepping away from nature over the years as humans, even wearing shoes where maybe we used to not so much and our feet can make that connection and the chakras on our feet, naturally ground with the movement and the walking. But, it's like a nice little message that's coming through because it would be easy and it's
yeah,
free. It just takes, okay, a decision. I'm
yeah,
going to walk outside and sit with my tree. So maybe do a little bit
yeah.
more of that and bring some more into your workspace. Um, so that is what they're sharing. We'll probably flow into energy work, but I wanted to ask if you had any questions.
Um, just in regards to the brow chakra, um, I think that I'm a very vivid dreamer. Like my dreams are pretty vivid since I'm a child, but I guess the past few years they've gotten even more vivid. And sometimes I have these experiences where I'm not sure if I was awake or if it was a dream where it kind of starts. I start out in my bed and I look around and it's nighttime and everything's the way it's supposed to be. And then I don't know, I'm just having these experiences at night where I don't know if I'm awake or dreaming. And then
Okay.
I kind of wake up in the morning, my alarm goes off, and I'm like, I don't know if I slept. Like, was I doing things? Like,
Mm.
um, I don't want to go into like the full details of it now because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you want to get into the energy work, but in regards to you talking about the brow chakra and um, I just wasn't sure what was going on there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Well, it feels to me like you were working in the astral realm, and this happens for many of us. And sometimes it goes through seasons, and sometimes we're aware of it, and other times we're not. But there's a lot of activity on Earth in the spirit state, so the astral realm. There's a lot of emotions on Earth from humans that are in a body and souls that are out of a body that maybe haven't crossed over, so ghosts. There's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of storylines and narratives, and what is Earth life, and how does society run and work? Well, everybody got together at some level and decided this is how we do things, or this is the natural flow of it. But there's a lot of different cultures and community and religion. And there's just a lot right now that's being amplified. And
mm,
so you could be working in the astral realm to help release some of that energy, to bring light
okay.
into stagnation, to get things flowing, is what I'm hearing. And so you might notice that. And sometimes when we have those dreamy, kind of like, is this real? Am I meditating and really seeing this? Or is it a dream? Experiences, we might know exactly what's going on and we might recognize people. And other times, we're literally working with spirits or frequencies that we don't recognize. So you might notice some of that coming in, but the message I'm getting is you are helping, you're working in dream state. You have, we go to different places when we're sleeping but I do see a strong presence around your physical body, protecting and watching over you. You have a full team supporting you. And this kind of work is easier, they're sharing, for a human to do that's in a body. It's kind of like it's
Mhm.
more present in this dimension of slowing down of energy, more present on the physical realm. It's a little bit easier than some of the beings who are not in a body to do that particular work. We're working on it from the inside up, like from from this level upward, so the inside out, where they'd be working to help from the outside. And so it is a
Mhm.
combination, but you're doing a lot of rearranging of energies to get things flowing, which is a part of your personality, is to find, I'm hearing, ease, organization, grace, like to just line things up. And so if there's a bottleneck, you're really good at helping to alleviate that and figure out a pathway. So that's kind of what you're doing, and you don't have to be overwhelmed. You're already doing it. Like, you don't have to even say, "How am I doing this?" Like, it's a natural skill that you have. And so when you're sleeping at some periods of time, meaning like weeks or months, you'll notice that it's enhanced a little bit more. And when you wake up, you
Mhm.
could say, "I had a really active sleep. I don't know if I rested. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know if I went deep." And so,
Yeah.
they're sharing that maybe for the brain, for the mental body, the emotional state, you could use a little bit more support. But what's interesting, they are trying to hold energy space around your physical body for it to rejuvenate. When we sleep deeply, we recharge up. Our physical
Yeah.
body goes through this whole phase. And so they're trying to help you, but be vocal, I'm hearing. Just speak out loud the
Okay.
next morning if you're like, "Well, I'm really tired and this is exactly how I'm feeling." So if you say my brain or my bones or my digestive tract, and just let them know, just say that. And then your team and your consciousness of your soul can make adjustments to help you get a deeper level of rejuvenation, rest. And it's not really sleep. I want to say sleep, it's like that's not the word. Just rejuvenation. So what happens when we sleep? They want to help you get that. You are not sleeping all the way right now. It'll
Mhm.
probably go on for up to 6 to 8 weeks, but not consistently. Like maybe a couple more weeks at the intensity that it is right now. But there's a lot happening on the planet right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, probably by the time this episode releases, you will be done with the whole process. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's really interesting what you said about like if I wake up and oh, it's starting to thunder. It when you wake up and if I feel like something's not right in my physical body, whether I have an ache or something that needs to be tweaked, to just tell them, to let them know,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're saying? Like if I
Yeah.
wake up and maybe I have like a headache somewhere, right? Or something's bothering me because I didn't get that full night's sleep, to just put it out there for them to let them know. Don't assume they know it already,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yep. And then they
That's
can work.
interesting.
They'll make adjustments like on the next night or throughout the day with you. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a
Okay.
for real thing. I've done it. It really helps just to have that open communication, because they're working to figure out like what's the best from the tools and the techniques that they have to work with your physical body through the energetic aspect.
Mm,
So, and then you might start to have cravings or be inspired to eat a certain way or do take a nap, certain
yeah.
things. Yeah. So you'll be inspired in how to take care of the physical body from a physical aspect as well. So,
Yeah. I've definitely been my what I'm craving, like in regards to food, is just I don't know. It's shifting. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I think it's because the weather, it's hot and humid outside, but I've just been um, drawn to eating like fruits and vegetables, lots of water, although I never drink enough water. But yeah, my diet is definitely changing, like what I'm craving, what I want to eat. That's definitely changing. I haven't really been eating as much meat. Um, and I have to figure out a way to get more protein because I do feel like my physical body like is a little bit weaker, especially like my upper body. So it's funny how even what you want to eat how that shifts
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing that.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. I
So
love it.
cool. It's all
Yeah.
so cool. Like this, everything about this just amazes me. And, it just trickles into all of your thoughts and how your day progresses. And I don't know,
Yeah,
it's just so cool.
absolutely.
This is all so very new for me, but it's just amazing. And I'm just so grateful to be here in this space with you. It's just so cool. I don't know how else to describe it.
No,
I
I
feel very
love that.
grateful.
Yeah, and it all, like you said, it all will find a way to just play out, and all aspects of our
Yeah.
life are influenced and enhanced and connected. It's amazing. So we're going to flow into working more with energy. It's already been happening. We could feel the shift before we got on our call today, and the energy's been flowing throughout our whole session, but it's coming in a bit more enhanced and intense. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you can put your hand on your heart like you are if you want, and feel free to move at any point in time. I know when I'm
Okay.
receiving a session, sometimes I like to lie, back with my palms up and just receive because you get to just receive right now, which is lovely. You don't have to
Yeah. Yeah.
do any self sessions.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I'm
yeah.
going to leave them palms up. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So, let's see. I'm just going to tune in.
Okay.
This is really good. Wow. There's a lot of energy coming in, and I would say it feels like activation kind of frequency, where there's a lot coming in down around crown chakra and brow, and it's flowing down your chakras to your feet through your legs in that way. In a sense that sometimes we say, oh, we're going to ground with earth energy and pull it up. You're like pulling more of your soul energy in. A lot of light codes. You work with a huge team. Okay, this makes so much sense to me. Like why you would have active sleep and be so aware and present. They're saying you're cognitively acute and your discernment is on point. You're present. You're holding space and you're analyzing a lot, and you send a lot of information back to the spirit world. So, kind of like a scout, but not really, but you do analyze what's going on and you share it in your sleep state and just through your thoughts and conversations. So, you're probably going to notice, if you haven't already, an enhanced like self conversation kind of experience where you're talking to yourself all the time, but you're really not.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
talking to your team. They're there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're sharing a lot of information. And not only like, when we watch something or we're analyzing the statistics or the data, that's one thing. But what you share is an enhanced aspect of this is how it feels. This is what it feels like. Sometimes you will have soul family guides come in, a tiny bit of them, into your aura or even into your thoughts to see or feel, like into your body, into your world, to feel it and take it back up. That can be happening when you're in meditation, I'm getting. So, and
Okay.
sometimes in those, like, if you're ever walking around your house in a very meditative space, you're up and walking, your eyes are open, but you feel this presence of a very strong energy field, a lot of calm energy around. You're sharing your moment with a guide, but this is more like a soul family. It's like a member of your team. It's like
Okay.
your equal, essentially, and it's like spirit family. You're holding a huge role right now on Earth. And it's interesting because you're a teacher, your career path is a teacher, but you're like a professor. You're like teaching in spirit world. Yeah, it's like translating over. You're reporting or you're teaching. This is the experience, and let me share with you the ins and the outs. So your team is huge. The energy around you is really strong right now. They're saying, think of it like you go on these, you have your main mission of your life and you have assignments or mission assignments, and you're on one for the rest of the year, maybe till January, because I'm seeing 6 months and we're filming, it's July. So that's what they're sharing. And that's why they show me like a medal, like, oh, you're successful, you have this medal. And this medal, like a ribbon, like accomplishment accolades, is right at your solar plexus chakra. And that's so one reason why you're feeling this enhancement of, wow, okay, two things. First, I would say like the importance of it and how you're working with what's happening in your life. And they're saying it's an enhancement of truth. Like you're really cutting out the BS and getting down to the truth. What this could mean is like if somebody's repeating themselves in conversation, let's say you have a friend and they're upset, but you hear them repeating the same thing over and over again. And then you say, okay, that's what's happening. Like that's your experience and that's the byproduct. But what's the source? Like the source, the truth. Where did it start? What's underneath of that? And that's one strong part. And that's also why you're super inquisitive. Like when you say you want to know and you think things through, it's actually really important. And this is a prime example, a very beautiful example of letting ourselves naturally be who we are and not judging it or trying to squash, our energy of who we are, because not only are you really working in the physical world, you're actually like working in spirit. You've already noticed that with your sleep state moments, your increased connection through conversation and feeling the energy come in. That also might be why you might say, oh, I don't feel so grounded. So, what they're talking about here is you are activating and you're upgrading your physical body so you can hold more energy of your guides' conversations around your aura so you don't have to go up and out. So, if they can come in a little bit more, you'll stay grounded in the body and more present. It is as if you have left a bit at times to have conversations in the other dimensional spaces, like up in the ethers, we'll just say, like you leave. So let's invite them to come and have the conversation a little bit more in the physical reality. So staying grounded and letting it come in. And I can feel it right now, regulating. So really what this awareness of understanding what's happening is helping your system be like, oh, okay. As the words come through, every part of your being is receiving the message. And I can feel it like you've already made adjustments. So I'm super curious to hear from you. How would you put it into words? How are you feeling? Or do you have any insights or questions to share?
Oh gosh, that's such a loaded question, Amy.
Yeah.
Everything you just said is just so huge right now. And, I definitely want to start with I'm constantly having conversations with myself in my head, like going back and forth. And I find myself at home going into like these zones. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only way I could describe it, like a zone where, we moved into a new house a couple years ago, and I've been like doing a lot of decorating, but it's it's I don't know, I almost feel like a mad scientist, but in regards to like home decorating, where I get this like almost like a download of how I want the room to be. And then I work just furiously to get it done. And sometimes it'll be hours before I say anything like physically to anyone in
Uh-huh.
my house. And my husband and my kids will be like, hello, mom. Um, but then I have such like this amazing feeling when whatever it is that maybe I was trying to create is complete. It feels almost like a feeling of euphoria
Mm-hmm.
almost. So it's funny. I definitely go into these zones where I feel like I'm having these conversations in my head about everything, but also like in regards to like being creative. And then, I am a teacher. I do teach first grade, and um, it's just amazing how my day proceeds. I feel like I'm I feel like my authentic self when I'm with the children. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I leave my classroom and I'm dealing with my colleagues, I have, the professional facade on, but when I'm in my classroom, I feel like like I just feel so connected with the kids and with everything. And I could cry just thinking about it because the kids, they're 5 and 6, and they'll say like through the years, especially the past couple years, they'll say, and I don't like, this is all in my head. Like I'm not saying anything, I'm very
Uh-huh.
professional in my classroom, but they'll say things to me that I don't know. I'm like, what would make you say that? Like, it's just so bizarre. It's like they're so they're so open and so
Mm-hmm.
psychic. Like it's so fun to be around them. And I think that they're really helping me to heal and step into whatever it is I'm stepping into.
Yeah.
I've had kids like focused on like the time, it's 11:11. Like, they get very excited when they see different times. I've had kids like tell me like they see color like purple around me and draw me pictures of like dragons and angels and fairies. And it just the timing of it always makes me feel as though, oh, thank you. Like that's exactly what I needed. I could cry just thinking about it because
Yeah.
even like little post-its, they'll write things, and I'm like, what would ever possess you to give me this unicorn sticker right now? Or, just like it's just bizarre how however whatever I'm experiencing internally, the kids somehow like they just make it seem like I'm right on in some way. So
Yeah.
that's been a really cool experience to have. Um, Even like with crystals and stuff, like, they know that I like crystals, but not to what extent. And they'll bring in like their collections from home and they'll want
Aw.
to talk about their crystals. It's just so cool. They're so open. And I think that they're definitely, um, being in that environment is definitely helping me to um, be more of my authentic self, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so I feel like, again, I have to go back to always feel like I'm talking to somebody, not really sure who or what. Sometimes I'm like, it's just like a
Mm-hmm.
higher version of myself. Is it their team? Is it my team? Um, Going back to like my dream state, like sometimes I'm having conversations with something or someone, and it almost looks like a church slash library. And I'm getting like information that I never thought I never thought of myself. Like I have to like almost like biblical at times too,
Mm-hmm.
where like read Genesis, like where I went back and forth with, well, I gotta read the book of Genesis now, or um, like three for a while it was Three Kings, and I don't know what that was. I looked it up, but like biblical references at times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know, but everything you're saying is making so much sense to me. I feel very like mission based, like in being here and just
Yeah.
holding light, but also um, I feel like when it comes to the kids, like being a teacher, like I try not to get caught up in like all the politics that are going on today. Like I had a really hard year. I don't know, but everything you're saying is just making so much sense to me because I do have these conversations in my head and it's like, well, why am I thinking this? Who's telling me that? Like, let me look that name up or that data. I don't know. It just makes so much sense. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I'm rambling. I'm sorry if I'm
No.
rambling. I feel like I want to cry and I want to ramble and I could go to sleep and I have a lot of energy. I feel very strange right now, but in a
It's
good
the
way.
energy. Yeah, I'm watching it all process out. It's perfect. And I think that you sharing, this is a prime example of heaven on earth, day to day experiences, bringing our soul light in. I mean, you're
Mm,
connecting with these beautiful children that are just so in tune and they feel comfortable around you to be themselves and to express this and to share that information. And they know it's a safe space for their light to come through. And
yeah.
it's not even so much what you say, it's how you make them feel because you are receptive and you honor and you're like in awe and you value. It's a very humbling experience. Whereas potentially some other adult might shut them down or be dismissive, with
Yeah.
their energy and
Yeah.
their body language. And so here you're leaving the space open for them to blossom and to really stay connected with the spirit side of things and the intuition side of things and to um, integrate, I'm seeing, like into the physical world, the physical body, and what do we want? How is society going to be moving forward? What is life going to look like for them? And you're giving them permission to bring more of their light codes online, stay in connection with
Yeah.
their soul frequency to help create this new experience on earth. And it's so beautiful. Like you're doing an amazing job. And as you were sharing, I could see energy shifting. And for our listeners, I was just watching, the places we were speaking about, some energy clearing. some
Mm.
energy like clearing, and your heart and throat are stabilizing a little bit more. And I'm just helping to comb out the solar plexus a little bit more. You know, the solar plexus stuff, it's all related to adults. so,
Yeah.
so it's
And
like
you know what?
interesting. Go ahead.
It's can I just share this one thing? And I don't know if it was something that I heard or saw or a little bit of both, but like I feel like I just got a message maybe.
Yeah.
Um just like I feel like I go into almost like a childlike state when I'm in my
Mm.
classroom where I feel like I almost become like I don't know. I feel like I look at everything through the lens of a child, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. There's definitely something to that. Like there's something magical about thinking like a child, like just being open like a child that maybe I'm connecting with in some way um, that I don't feel that same kind of safe space with adults as I do with the
Mm-hmm.
kids. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting like thinking like a child, like looking at the world from like a childlike lens. Does,
Yeah, well, it's so important. What you're saying is like amazing because when we start to work with energy and spirit and intuition and our clair senses, I always say don't put any judgment on it or really expectations. Have that curiosity of a child and be open to like exploring and seeing, well, how does this work or how will it happen without, you know, I'm seeing like words when they're saying programming, dictation, structure, like, well, this is how it has to work because we've done this for thousands or hundreds, years or whatever. It's kind of like, maybe not, or maybe we're shifting. So children have that innocence and they're
mm,
very in tune. And they, when given this space, I'm hearing the word authority. They have the authority. When given that authority to say their and speak their truth, the most magical and amazing stuff can come through. And so
yeah,
like you're seeing this, and you're honoring it and you're holding space for it and you're validating just through your presence of, letting them explore this world and the unseen aspects because there's so much more than what a typical human can see, and that is a part of using those clair senses. And when they're sharing, oh, I can see the purple around you, and when they're talking about, well, some people will call them mythical creatures, but spirit animals. Uh, there's something to that. It's definitely been a
yeah,
part of humanity's reality for a long time. So, and they're tuning into it. So there's definitely a message there. And so you're just
yeah.
really helping them moving forward with it. So let's see. I'm getting okay. So I just want to do a little bit of energy around. I knew like there's been a lot processing, a lot happening. That when we first started the energy aspect a few moments ago, I felt all that energy come in, and we saw how it worked through you, and it helped to open places and expand spaces that were a little sticky. It looked like. And now I see a lot of blue at your throat. It's like a deep, beautiful ocean blue. It's sparkling. Um, I would say one thing that you might notice is the back of your heart chakra opening a little bit more over the next few weeks. And you might feel a little pressure back there. So just breathe through it.
Okay.
It's like a little heart expansion. And then we have, let's see, the beautiful orange around your sacral chakra is looking really pretty. And I just need to move around a little bit of those tangles at your solar plexus. There's a little bit. So go ahead and relax. I'm just going to unwind that. As we begin, I'm just bringing in some concentrated energy in this space to help support it and soften it. Get it moving. A little fluid here, a little bit. Okay, so somebody, or maybe a series of people, or thoughts of like media or community. I'm not sure, but it feels as if it's either more than one instance or more than one person. But there was some energy that came towards you, and you caught it and you're rejecting it. As I'm holding this space, I see that it had clogged this ribbon or cord of light, this funnel of light, and you caught it and you're like, nope, that's not coming into my space or my field. And so as the energy is coming in, I see it like you just pushed it out and rejected it. And so you were just holding on to it before, but now it's gone. And I'm going to fill you with light. You'll feel a bit more put together, just confidence and present in your body and in our awareness, and that will help you feel centered. But you did a really good job because you're like, that's not my truth. And I'm not going to feel that I have to succumb to that, reality or perspective. And your guides are saying, first and foremost, you're very discerning. You're very analytical. You look at all aspects, and you're not just going to be dumped on and made to carry things that aren't yours or walked on or I'm hearing like infiltrated and programmed. So, and this can be anything. That doesn't have to be
Yeah.
political or what's happening in the world.
Right.
It could have been a conversation of a friend trying to be like, well, why don't you like spaghetti? I love spaghetti. You should eat spaghetti. It could
Yeah.
be anything. And you're like, no, I know that I don't, or whatever. So that's kind
Yeah.
of like the interaction. But you were holding on to it for a while. And that leads me to believe it's probably somebody or something very close to your life, like a friend, or it could be something around work because it meant something to you. But now you let it go. And they're also saying you just need to hold on to it for a minute for the other party to calm down. And now you're letting it go and everything's going to be fine. So rather than let it escalate or you respond in a way that could really heighten, animosity between, you held it. You were holding the space. You're like, I'm going to hold that for you. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you good now? All right, we're going to release it and let it flow. And it's just floating into light right now. So because to this person or this experience, it was part of the past, it's not a part of their moment any longer. So I see it going up into the light for clearing. But your body was like, huh, okay. It's kind of like, man, why do I have to hold on to that? But your guides are
Yeah.
saying sometimes there's reasons for your mission and different ways of what our mission is. And sometimes we just come across things and we're like, okay, I'll help out for a minute. It didn't feel
Yeah.
predestined. It felt like in the moment you were like, okay, I have the energy reserves. I can help with this right now. But now your body's like, it's time. We're going to let it go. So let me just help stabilize this here. Because now I see the energy come up to your heart. It's almost like I want to cry. It's like sometimes when we get so mad and then we want to cry because we're like, why did I have to go through that? Or like all the pressure. Now your body's like crying in a form of release. And also, it was a little taxing on your psyche and your energy field. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I need to expand and release, but breathe. And so they want you to be compassionate and kind to yourself. And they're like clapping like you did an amazing job. Because it's almost like your part of yourself was like, holy crap, like what did I just have to endure? I was not expecting that. And it's like, no, you did good. You did good. It's okay. Like, let it go. And so self-care is going to be coming in. And you talking about compartmentalizing earlier. It's an aspect of that. Like, okay, you were like, I'm going to prop myself up in this part of my life. I'm going to be strong and secure in this part. I know what I'm doing here as this little storm is brewing. And they're like, it's all gone. Just let it go. So you'll be going through a few weeks of more contemplation of self-care. And that is where they're showing you stabilizing your solar plexus and your heart.
Okay.
So two hands
Okay.
there or crystal there, and you're doing perfect. And they're going to come around to support you. And they're saying, look, you just learned a huge, if we want to call it lesson, but I don't really like that way. It's like, look, you just had a huge experience where now you're really
Yeah.
wise. A lot of wisdom has come through that. In the future, you'll kind of respond a little bit different in that you'll catch it outside of your energy so you don't have to hold it. You'll see it, you'll stop it, and you'll dissolve it before it comes in your aura. this came into your aura and you held it and you're like, you're not getting into my chakras. You're not coming in any closer. It's like you almost held it on the sixth level, but a piece of it came to the fourth dimension. And we typically hold our aura out at the seventh. They're like, no, you can clear it. You can work with it at the eighth and ninth. You don't even have to let it come into your life. But now you know. So now your clairsenses and how you work and all that will know. So we're coming to a little bit of close of our time, but I want to check in and
Yeah.
see how you're feeling. You'll have
I feel
integration.
I feel I feel like numb right now. It's so funny. It's pouring rain right now and thundering, and your voice and the lighting. I know it's a little dim in here, and I'm sorry, but I just feel like I'm very zen right now.
Yeah.
um, and what you just said makes so much sense. I live 15 minutes from New York, Manhattan, and
Mm,
I live in New Jersey, and I'm just in a very weird town with lots of. It's very dense here, and I live in the town I work in.
mm,
So I feel like things are just always um, coming at me at times. You know, my kids are middle school age and they're never not always perfect, right?
yeah.
Neither am I. So, you know, there's definitely a small town vibe that I have to constantly, um, you know, push stuff out of my system. I feel like I'm constantly
Yeah.
like when Wonder Woman has those wrist things, like I feel like I'm constantly like, nope, not today. But I feel like there might have been one in regards to having to kind of step up and defend one of my children. And, you know, you have everybody's on, you know, their social media platforms, and sometimes grown-ups take it to a really, you know, not so
Mm,
nice kind of level. And again, going back to kids, I get very like defensive when it comes to my children or any children. um so yeah, so that makes perfect sense to me. But I definitely
yeah.
feel like as time has progressed, and especially now, I feel like I'm releasing it and I'm just looking back and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Like it's kind of fizzled out on that other party's end. So you can let it go, but you'll
Yeah.
definitely be aware in the future if you start to see something similar coming up again. Um, So, what they're sharing is if you can just take the next couple of hours and let that sensation be with you, you know, you say you feel a little bit numb. That's a part of
Yeah.
energy work. Like, literally, we feel, yeah, a little numb because the energy is moving and there's a lot of energy coming in and releasing and going out. I mean, I can feel it right now too. So, it's like I'm present, I'm grounded, I'm aware of my body, but I'm also aware of another dimension. And
Yeah.
so you're expanded and your multidimensional awareness is really on point right now. So they want you to just know it'll be about 2 hours. But what can help you just to relax and journal anything that comes out and get a
Okay.
little bit of food. So you can do fruits and nuts and water. Get a little bit of food. And before you get up and walk around, I see you sitting in lotus pose and like rubbing your legs and massaging your feet just to make sure you have enough energy in your body, down in your legs to carry you. And
Okay.
um, and everything's really amazing. It's all going to work out. So I mean, it's all beautiful. I see your team around you. So know that you're going to receive a lot of guidance also over the next few weeks, like an increased awareness. And if you ask them for something, they will deliver. So it's kind of fun to be like, hey, can you give me a sign? I want to see a dragonfly, a butterfly, a feather, a leaf, like whatever. So also you can be aware of any signs coming through that is a direct response for you and like
Okay.
reassurance. Yeah. So you can flow with that as well.
Okay.
So just take the time that you need. And if anything comes up, you can message me and let me know. But I
Okay.
just want to share you're doing an amazing work here and navigating and holding space beautifully.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us today. And I hope that the messages and Like, thank you so much, Lauren, because I feel like what you've shared
No,
is going
Amy,
to inspire many.
thank you. I can't even thank you enough for just everything. Like, believe it or not, I've been following you for a few years now. I took a bunch of your classes, and this experience has just been amazing. And I'm sorry, I just feel very zen right now. So, but I want to thank you and just let you know how grateful I am for everything. This experience, you really helped me to understand myself and what I'm experiencing. And um, I just want you to know how grateful I am for you. This is awesome. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you, everybody, for being a part of our community. And I'm wishing you all a beautiful day. And so we'll see you again on the next episode of the Spirit and Soul Healing Podcast.
Thank you, Amy.